Don't try this at home. No, I'm serious. Don't try this at home. Alright, let's go ahead and get ready for the next page. Let's go ahead and crease the paper. And let's go ahead and pin that down. Let's go ahead and grab our spare journal just to prop up the page. And let's go ahead and start the sketch. Now it's going to be two major sketches this time. It's going to be a little campfire and this little shadowy figure. Let's go ahead and grab my gouache paint. Now I really recommend that you use something ceramic because they clean extremely easily. So as long as you don't drop it, it'll last basically forever. Or just use whatever you can find. I was using the top of a spray paint can lid for a while, so anything honestly works. Now using my spatula, let's go ahead and grab a little extra white, put it on top of that lid. I really hope that's mine. So we're going to heavily focus on that little fire sketch right there, because that bottom one's just going to be a solid black. Now to get fire, you want to make sure it's really spontaneous looking. And honestly, this brush has been bothering me for like a week. Hang on. Don't be scared to modify your brushes. I've had this one for like 2 years. Now for the fire sketch, we're going to have to build up multiple layers. So we're going to go back and forth on these dark colors, light colors, dark colors, until we get a really nice, crazy look to it. You can also go down the route of having it more illustrated looking. And that just means having like those sharper lines. Personally, I don't want to go that route. So I'm going to be adding a lot of spontaneous colors back and forth. And I do have one other idea that I want to try out. Might be a bad idea, but we'll see. So right now I'm just going to heavily focus on that background, making it really dark, little scrap paper to protect the previous page. And then while I'm working on that background, I'm going to go ahead and weather the page as well. This will just help keep that page really smooth looking. And so back here again, we're going to go back and forth, adding some white again. And you're going to see me go over this maybe 3 or 4 times. And this will really add some depth to that fire. Right here, just adding some highlights to the logs. This will make much more sense once everything's darkened up. You almost want the page to look like it's glowing itself. So you're gonna have to take a lot of colors to the extreme. Right here, adding a little bit of shadowing. After that, we're gonna go ahead and work on this guy down here. And this is a fairly simple one. It's just like a little shadow. And all you have to do is just add a little bit of white acrylic to his teeth. This will just help make it pop a little more off the page. You can leave it blank as well, but I like adding that little highlight to it. Right here, gonna add a little shadow to the feet, and it's best to do it before outlining everything. That way that shadow doesn't accidentally smudge the black. Now that we colored everything in with the pen, now we can go over it a second time with a little bit of black gouache paint, and we're not gonna fill it in 100%. We're gonna wanna leave some of those little sketch lines in the background. That way it'll give more of an illusion of it being drawn on the fly, because I can't imagine this character sitting still. This brush has seen some better days. Now that that campfire dried for a little bit, let's go ahead and draw in the eyes. And while that dries, let's go ahead and add a little bit of white highlights to this character. And let's go ahead and mess up the outline a little bit. That way we get a really messy look. And again, we want this all to look really sketched out. So I'm going to be using a pen for the majority of this. I'm going to use my art pens, but only for a little bit of cross hatching. I don't want to use them for any of the outlines here. That way the drawings will look a little more crazier on this page. Using my regular pen, let's go ahead and add some really harsh sketch lines to those shadows. And then after that, we can continue to try to add in some of those highlights. Now this is going to be really tedious, but it is going to be worth it in the end. Adding some harsh yellows and then going over it again with some whites until you find a balance that you like. Just real quick, just between you and me, you and Berto, be really careful while using fire. This stuff can be extremely dangerous. And make sure you have parental supervision if you're underage, because fire can be extremely random and very likely to damage your drawing. So just be ready to fix any problems that might happen. Well, that's not good. So just be really careful, alright? And you'll see for doing this, I actually did damage my drawing too. So let's go ahead and start fixing that. Could have sworn my paperclip was here. Huh. I guess I'll just hold the paper down. It's not ideal, but I guess. So the first part of patching this up, we're going to go ahead and go over with the white acrylic. And this is just so I can see that drawing a little easier. Next off, we're going to add a piece of tape because this page is now extremely brittle and is already starting to fall apart. After that, we're going to re-outline the design. You ever see this trick? Tape palette. Now using some acrylic, I'm going to go ahead and hide that tape because in my case, this is not an ideal placement for it. You know, that's not too bad. But if we can do a little bit better, let's add some color back to this page. But before we start with that, I'm going to need my paperclip. There you are. Because holding the page is not ideal, honestly. And to bring some color back into that page, I'm just going to be using a little bit of orange and brown and blending those two colors on top of each other. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and keep moving on. One of the most important things you can do as an artist is learn how to adapt, because there's going to be a lot of mistakes that happen, especially when working on a larger project. So don't strive for any perfection, try to strive to have solutions to fix any problems that you may run into. So here, just finishing off the words and then adding any little distress that I may have missed. And I really like how this drawing came out, and I like that burn mark on the top corner. Not everyone's gonna like that choice, but I like it. Yeah, no, that's a tattoo. It doesn't come off. Also, my next upload might take a few days. For hitting 10,000, I want to make the next journal. Can you guess which one it is?